Chair. Let me thank you for this great honor, privilege to be made guest of honor at OOCAS. I congratulate, along with the Vice Chancellor, OOCAS and all that OOCAS is doing and that it stands for. I like the notion of the open society. It's fantastic because this will drive now to its furthermost points. I congratulate now and I wish you and OOCAS all the very best that we will do. I think this is a very important colloquium for the simple reason that we are passing through a phase in our national history and in global history, one defined by the kinds of things that we are not in control of. And you know, what we try to do all the time in the name of scientific progression and technological growth is to see how much we can control and hold to account. But this one seems to defy everything. And I think that the way to approach it is to locate it properly within its framework. If we don't do so, we'll be missing out on it. Now, hate speech and fake news are not new at all. They are not new. They are as old as mankind. If you read Socrates, you read Plato, you read Aristotle, there are even ethical considerations, that will lead people to evaluating the kinds of news that we have. But this is the essence of the public domain, and public domain thrives on information, and information is key to everything that we do. I'd like to suggest to us two things. The one is that fake news and hate speech would become even exaggerated in their consequences in societies that are already conflict-ridden or conflict-prone. They are societies that are divided societies. We refer to them as societies where issues tear people apart from the top to the bottom. These are highly politicized societies. And in such societies, fake news and hate speech can become something else. In relatively more peaceful societies, less conflict-prone societies, hate speech and fake news are treated the way rumors are treated. And people don't die simply because what you hear is not true. They are challenged to say, these people are at it again. But why would fake news and hate speech have such venom? This is because fake news and hate speech have become an integral part of psychological warfare. And we must understand the context of psychological warfare. You would know that, things like deliberate disinformation and misinformation, these are strategies of war, and they have been used over and over again. Things are simulated and they are used. Technology has simply helped us to do that. Now, so in the context of the Cold War, of course, notions of propaganda, brainwashing, and all of these things that we classify under the rubric of hate speech and so on are matters of deployed, deliberate strategies, for bringing about certain ends. Now, I'd like to suggest, because we have a long time, a long day ahead of us, I'd like to suggest that in our country, what even makes the hate speech and fake news regime more dangerous is the fact that it transcends our national boundaries. So even the fake news that we talk about, which we assume come from within, may not be internal to us. Many of these things are elements of deception. At a point, as a country, we were challenged to see that our end was near. And I'm sure we all remember that. There was a doomsday prediction that Nigeria was doomed to collapse at a point. And we all were in some kind of frenzy. Who knows? Perhaps the present dispensation that we read about, on all of these things, may be a fallout of a more deliberate design. And if that is the case, then the dangers are even more serious than we imagine. If there are, external dimensions to the kinds of deception and disinformation and misinformation that we are going through. I want to say that if we don't address the issues that perennially make us prone to conflict and instability and disorder as a country, we would continue to have very dangerous consequences of fake news and hate speech. They thrive under those circumstances, and they have their desired effects if indeed there are deliberate strategies that are deployed. I'd like to suggest, therefore, that when we are looking at these things, we should know that those who are behind the propagation, the propaganda, the problems that come with fake news and hate speech should be identified. It's a difficult bargain. I mean, no research methodology has taught us how to get to people that are clandestine and people that don't have faces. But it is something we must take seriously, because if we have attacks from outside, then we must know those who are attacking us. If we don't know those who are attacking us, we cannot respond appropriately. Let me close the following way. Each time President Donald Trump is attacked, he does not get shy at all. He hits back immediately. And he himself can say things that actually would amount to hate speech, including the fact that he has said that women should go back to their countries that are ridden with corruption and try to rid those countries before coming to open their mouths in the United States of America. Americans would not say that is such hate speech that will further divide us. They rather take it as something that should be engaged, and they discuss it, critique it, and at the end of the day see that Donald Trump is put squarely where he belongs. In order for hate speeches to be treated like rumors, the way we have always treated them, we need to recognize that there is always room for hate speech. There is always room for fake news. We cannot run away from fake news and hate speech, whether there is, what do we call it? The Vice Chancellor is the master of the new technologies. He talked about Instagram, Facebook, and all of these things that we cannot control. But the truth is, we must seek better ways of ensuring that ours is a just and equitable nation. That is the way we can properly respond to the negative consequences of hate speech. We cannot stop hate speech, just as we cannot stop rumors. They have always been there, and they will continue to be there. The more we fail to do the things that we should do as a country, the more room we create for hate speech and for fake news, and the more room we create for the dangers and threats to our collective existence. I thank you.